Hello and welcome to another video in our beginner series for Gaea. And in the last video we made our base texture, our snowfall and water. In this video we will go back to our base texture and add some complexity. From here let's talk about some of the things that we can improve. So what we can do is let's start from the lake. In the lake it's almost looks like a flat color and not much variation, so we'll be doing that in a minute. And for the rivers, you can see here the river is not visible at all. It's like somewhat visible, but that's not enough for it. And then another is that the texture, other than the lake and snow, it looks a bit the same. It needs more variation in it. So what we can do is we can take some of the flows and create a different color for the flow, and we can add some other texture variation in it. So we'll start with our base texture here. So this is what we get initially, and we will take the flow from our erosion. So let's make a FX node. So let's add a bit of variation to it. So let's take a Berlin noise. Let's change the scale a bit. Something like this. And get soil. And multiply this mask. So we get something like this. Our flow mask, but with a bit of variation. So maybe increase the scale further. This is what we get. One similar way would be to get a rock map. This feels a bit better than our Berlin noise. So maybe we'll take this and delete this. Now that we have our map here, we will use this as our mask. We'll take another set map from here. And let's say we choose color like this, and here we will blend them with 100% blend. And this we will use as the mask. So this is what we get. This is from earlier, and this is after the blend. We get some sort of like debris in here, so maybe some other color with like lots of variations or something like this. This looks like there are like small rocks everywhere, and when we combine it, they are added in the flows, so you get like some sort of rocky floor deposits around here. Now these are the smaller details. Before these we can add probably some bigger details like different color to blend it with. So let's take another set map from here. Sometimes it's show like this, it looks like 2D, so you just click on the underlay and then back and it will show you the correct. This is okay. So for the first pass we will combine these two at 100% blend, and for the mask we will use a Voronoi. So right click, choose a Voronoi, and let's increase the scale. So now let's clip it so that we get some of the flat floor, and there is this like Voronoi noise here poking out. So if we shape it up a little so that it's a bit bulky, auto level it and shape more. This looks good. So let's warp it a bit so that it's irregular here, and we increase the amplitude. Okay, this looks fine. So maybe another seed. That's a bit much on the warp. So if you see it like that, so what this Voronoi does is that in the places that are tall, this second set map will be applied, and in the places that are flat, this set map will be applied. So it's sort of like we have a different mineral in the soil around here, and this is all of our base set map here. This is the variation we can get. Now if we change the seed, we'll get a different blend in here. I like this one because see, here our lake is here, and this sort of area has like a different mineral, and the same mineral is flowing on this area, so this is quite nice. So we take this and combine it with this one. We are applying the flows on top of our base texture so that they are visible even if we change the colors, because some of the colors like this color is a bit dark than this one, so maybe if we blend it afterwards, then this detail will be lost. This detail will be lost somewhere, so we are doing this in the end. So another thing what we can do is you can add a bunch of set map with some different shade of Voronoi. You can have, let's say, 3 minerals in here, so that you can do as you like. Another thing is let's add some since this is a relatively rocky surface, so we can add some shine to the rock. So let's take our base terrain. This is our final terrain. So let's get surf text. This one gets like this sort of rocky surface texture. Now we can take a slope. say we take 60 degrees. We are getting the angles between 0 and 60 degree here. Let's take a height node. So what height does is it takes the mask from the height data. So let's say we put the max to 100 and min, adjust the min so that we get the mountain here. Now we are getting mountain in some of these areas with the fall off. So now we multiply these. So what multiply will do is choose those slopes in this height that we mentioned, and then we can apply self text to it so that we get this sort of detail. Then we can apply a set map to it. Let's apply this directly to the set map. So we are getting sort of this color for the mountain, and most of it will be covered by snow, so we don't have to worry about it. Just a similar color will do. Now let's combine these two. 100% blend, and this is our mask right here. So we get a slightly different color for the top. Since the top part will be covered with snow anyway, so let's choose a different part of the height. So let's choose maybe some of the lower parts of the mountain. So yeah, this is alright. This looks good. Now we can apply self text to it so that this part looks rocky. So you can see this here. Take a different color, maybe this. Okay. And then combine with this right here. So we get these sort of rocky details on the areas right here. And for any natural scene we don't need much variation because there is not much variation in nature. So we create some of these different textures and blend them rather than using the same texture and making it more and more complex. This is what we get till far. Another thing to note is that since it's a snowy area, so there will be, since we'll be adding vegetation at the end, so the vegetations won't be in the areas where there is possibility of snow. So like so this is snow right here, but when the snow melts or when there is more let's say there is more of the snow, so there will be snow right here in winters, so there is less chance of vegetation here and more chance of vegetations in say like areas like this where it gets a lot of water. Okay, so for that we will make another snowfall node. right here, and this time the snow line would be somewhere around here, maybe 18. And so we are getting snowfall here. Now let's, in this under the scale, we'll increase the terrain's verticality so that this comes down here. So maybe increase the duration and intensity. Okay, this is nice. Maybe more intensity. Some of the settle. Okay. So we will not be using it as an actual snow. We will be using it as a mask so that we don't get vegetation in here. So let's put this snow mass to 0 so that it flows more. So this is our snowfall, and we get this mask right here. Make this a portal, and finally, so this is our base terrain. So we will change the base terrain output right here. Let's rearrange our graph a little bit. So this is how our snow is looking, and this is our river mask. So for the river, since they are not visible in the areas around here, what we'll do is we get this river depth node, and put the F node. What this node does is it takes the mask and it will, above a threshold, it will make it a hard mask. So as you can see, this is what we are getting. We can decrease the threshold so that we get more of our rivers. So maybe something like this. Now we are getting this nice river network. We can maybe blur it a little. Auto level it. So it's maybe less. We applied some logarithmic scaling to it so that right here we get some like this artifact type of thing. So when we blur it, it looks more natural. So now if we use this as a mask, we get the rivers, like more of the rivers. It's a hard mask, so we'll have to adjust the sealet right here. So we pin this, and we can adjust the gradient from here. Let's change this color a bit more to the blue so that it blends better with our terrain. This is quite nice. So maybe let's get a bit more of this. This is what our rivers look like, and finally this is how our lakes look after combining. So maybe we need to change some of our lakes. nice. So before our sealer, what we can do is we can warp it. So what warp does is it will warp our height mask. So before we warp, let's add a bit of blur to it. Now if we warp it, it is very small size and with lots of roughness. And if you see the before and after, you see that we get a lot of warping around the edges, so they look nicer than before. And maybe increase the strength a little bit so we can see it better here. Maybe we should do a logarithmic scaling beforehand. Yeah, this will make it look much better. Now we'll put sealer here, and you can see it changed the whole mood of the terrain. So maybe let's try a different color for our lake. This is looking quite nice. So maybe we need to match the color for the river. This is looking quite nice right here. Now for our final step, we will add vegetation here. So the vegetation nodes take an additional input, which is the height. So here we will put our actual terrain itself, and as you can see, this will add this lack of sort of noise where we can place our vegetations. So if we were to increase the slope bottom, it will put more of the noise on the slopes, and maybe we can change the occurrence a bit. Here we can combine it back with our terrain. So blend 100%, and we'll use the dead zone as our mask that we created before, which is right here. Let's call it dead zone. So this is our dead zone, and we can invert it so that there is none of the vegetations here, and this is what we get. So it's looking quite nice, and here we can have some interesting lighting setups. Increase exposure a bit. Yes, so this is our final terrain. And that's it for our texturing. In the next video we will be talking about all the build settings and how to set up the project for build so that we can put it in our 3D software or any game engine. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.